Roller coasters are very crazy, which is why coaster enthusiasts love the rides. From airtime, to inversions, to intensity, there is so much to love about a roller coaster. However, some coasters are so insane that even the most seasoned coaster enthusiasts might not be able to handle these coasters. My name is Coaster Legend, and these are the top 10 most insane roller coasters in the world. These aren't really in any particular order. Before we begin, I want to point out that this is not some GP clickbait video. These coasters are actually insane, and some coaster enthusiasts actually fear these coasters. Number 10. Pantheon. Pantheon is an intimate multi-launch roller coaster located at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg in Williamsburg, Virginia. The ride starts with a small launch into a few hops, which leads into a second launch. Riders start to crest the top hat element, but at the top of the crest, riders roll backwards down the spike. This leads into a backward spike after a switch track element to boost riders with more speed into the top hat again. Riders actually make it over the top hat, which leads into a huge outward banked airtime hill. This hill provides some insane airtime, but the next element is even crazier. The following element is a 0G stall, hanging riders upside down for multiple seconds before going into a couple of hills into the brake run. This ride is insane because of the ridiculous elements, launches, and whippy transitions. Speaking of transitions, this was a horrible one. Number 9. Thrill Dragster. I actually feared this coaster even after I rode it. In fact, I really didn't enjoy this ride until in 2019. The most insane part is at the very beginning of the ride, the launch. This launch pushes riders back into their seats. Riders feel like a giant hand is pushing against them. This element twists riders' stomachs so much, which is why I feared this ride back in 2018. Following this is the most intense coaster element I've experienced. A tight valley into a 400-foot tall hill. This valley pulls so many positive G's, it is ridiculous. Finally is a 400-foot drop spiraling downwards. The reason this ride is crazier than the tallest coaster, Eejanaika, is because of the restraints. Thrill Dragster has lap bars instead of the over-the-shoulder restraints, which causes a more open ride experience. Before we go any further, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Otherwise, you'll find a Vekoma SLC in your closet tonight, and that is pretty creepy, I would say. Even creepier than Siren Head. Number 8. DC Rivals. DC Rivals is a mock rides hypercoaster located in Australia. The ride has a very unique non-inverting loop. This element provides great forces. The twisted drops and airtime hills are amazing, and the turns are nice. But you may be wondering, what makes this ride so insane? I'll tell you, the back row faces backwards. You can experience all of these forces facing backwards. Facing down the lift hill is insane enough, but going through the hills backwards is ridiculous. This non-inverting loop backwards is insane. Number 7. Smiler. The Smiler is a Gerstlauer infinity coaster at Alton Towers in the United Kingdom. The ride has the most inversions in the world with 14. The ride starts with a bang, a dark heartline roll. Following this is 6 more inversions after a curved drop. These inversions include a corkscrew and a batwing. After this is 7 more inversions after a vertical lift hill. Also, to make this ride even creepier is the theme. This has to be the creepiest theme ever. Just look at all these creepy things around. This ride is so weird. Number 6. Steel Vengeance. Steel Vengeance is an RMC hyper hybrid at Cedar Point in Ohio. The ride opened in 2018 and is still crazy. Starting with a vertical drop and a strong airtime-filled top hat, the ride leads into one of the craziest elements on any coaster. This outside bank turn has airtime lasting up to 6 seconds. This is crazy enough, but the rest of the ride consists of 4 inversions, including this 0G roll, 27 seconds of flow-ejector airtime, and some of the craziest elements on any coaster. RMC is one of the craziest coaster manufacturers, but this is the craziest coaster by the company. Number 5. Max Force. The fastest accelerating coaster in the US makes its way onto this list. Why? This ride accelerates from 0 to 78 miles per hour in under 2 seconds. This ride is very short. but it packs a punch. Starting with a ridiculous launch, the ride leads into a very strong airtime moment. This then leads into the tallest double inversion in the world. This isn't even the craziest moment of the ride. The craziest part of the ride is the fastest inversion in the world, this 0G roll. This element whips riders insanely fast. Before riders even realize what record they just broke, they are flying through 2 more inversions before diving into the brakes. Riders get a huge adrenaline rush on this ride. Number 4. Intimidator 305. One of the most intense coasters in the world is in Virginia at Kings Dominion. Intimidator 305 starts with a 300-foot drop. After this massive drop, the ride takes a super sharp turn, which often causes riders to black out. This turn had to be reprofiled to help riders from not blacking out. That is how insane this coaster is. Following this is a massive airtime hill and a couple of rapid-fire transitions. These transitions are the whippiest transition on any coaster ever. Following this are 2 great floater airtime hills and more rapid transitions before entering the brake run. This coaster is one of the most intense coasters ever, which is why it makes number 4 on this list. Number 3. Flying Dinosaur. Flying Dinosaur, located in Osaka, Japan at Universal, is a flying coaster, which means riders are parallel with the track. Riders face straight down almost the entire ride. The ride starts with a steep drop into a twist that flips riders 540 degrees around. Riders are now on their backs, entering a very intense element. This element slams riders onto their backs before switching back to the flying position. Following this is a pretzel loop inversion, which flips riders onto their backs and then their stomachs again. This is one of the most intense coaster elements in the world, not to mention that the ride goes through a tunnel during this element. Following this are a few more twists and turns before entering the brake run. This ride is crazy because of the crazy elements riders experience in the flying position. Number 2, Time Traveler. Time Traveler is a spinning coaster located at Silver Dollar City in Missouri. The ride was built in 2018 by Mock Rides. The ride is pretty crazy, and some people even consider it the best in the park. The coaster begins with a 90-degree drop out of the station, which is insane already. Following this is an inversion, which is one of 3 on this coaster. May I add, while going through all of these elements, that the cars are spinning. Riders could be upside down and facing the side, backwards, or forwards. Next is a launch. A launch while spinning is insane, but with inversions, crazy transitions, a second launch, and a vertical drop, it is no wonder that the ride is on this list. The inversions include loops and dive loops. Enthusiasts love this coaster for being as insane as it is. Number 1, Eejanaika. Eejanaika is an SNS 4D coaster that some coaster enthusiasts are terrified of. This 200-foot beast of a coaster is crazy because the seats rotate on the coaster. Starting with a near vertical drop, riders rotate face down. This element can freak even the most seasoned coaster enthusiasts out. After this element is a Raven turn. Following this is a 0G roll, but riders also rotate 360 degrees, so it is like 2 0G rolls in one. This is probably the craziest moment on the ride. After this is some ridiculously intense turns and another Raven turn. After this is the brake run, but riders are looking straight down on the brake run. It's no wonder that this coaster is number 1 on this list. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe and like button. See you next time.